had started with the unit 5 of your syllabus, which is covering some of the big financial services under the Indian financial system. And we had started with banking services, discussing the role of banking in the economic development. This was covered. Then, what are the challenges to the Indian banking sector right now with the falling asset quality or the rising NPAs being the biggest problem faced by the banks? Post that, we also discussed the structure of the Indian banking industry with the categorization of the banks under scheduled and unscheduled banks. One added category here can be the development banks, which were taken up with the difference between commercial banks and development banks being discussed in detail. So, this all was covered. What are development banks, the features, and how are they different from the commercial banks in their working? Post that, we also discussed the meaning of universal banking, that is the selling of or offering of wide range of financial services through the bank. So, apart from the normal service of accepting deposits and giving out loans, banks are also offering you a number of financial products like insurance, mutual funds. They are offering you portfolio management services, and they are also assisting in the corporates in launching of IPOs. That is, they are providing investment banking services, providing housing finance, credit, debit cards, factoring, forfeiting services, and so on. So, a new category of banks is the payment banks, which are accepting deposits up to 1 lakh rupees, but they cannot issue loans and credit cards. Okay, they offer you debit cards, net banking, mobile banking, ATM cards, but they cannot give loans to their customers. So, some of the banks under this category are Airtel Payments Bank, your Paytm, Geo Payment Bank, and so on. Okay, now we also discussed the mergers, some of the major mergers and acquisitions in the Indian banking sector. And one of the developments in 2017 was when the associates of the state bank were merged with the principal entity. Apart from that, the major M&A in the past 2-3 years have been the merger of PNB, OBC, and United Bank to make up the second largest public sector bank. And then Union Bank, Andhra Bank, and Corporation Bank have been merged under the Union Bank, and this became the fifth largest PSB public sector bank. Canara and Syndicate Bank, and Allahabad Bank and India Bank. So, in the public sector, these were the mergers. Also, we are hearing that in the current fiscal, we'll be seeing disinvestment in some PSBs. So, that would be a development to look out for. Okay, this is a timeline of some of the major M&As that have taken place in the Indian banking system. Okay, now we come to the problem of non-performing assets in detail. So, I had given you an overview that over the years there has been an increase in the NPAs or fall in the asset quality in the Indian banking system, with some of the uh, worrisome facts being highlighted here through the newspaper articles. Last year, during the corona time, moratorium was offered, and which further increased the problem of NPAs. And as mentioned in the Financial Stability Report in January 2021 by the RBI, the gross NPAs are expected to rise further to about 13.5% by September 2021. And with the current second wave in the country right now, with the lockdowns in effect, curfews in effect, we'll see an upward revision in the NPA in the coming times, because this is all dependent on the financial health of the economy. And there's somewhere January and today in April, we are standing at two different positions. Okay, so we might see a further fall in the asset quality of the banks. Coming to the definition of NPA, basically they are the bank assets which are not performing, or the loans on which the interest or principal amount is overdue for a period more than 90 days. When we define NPAs, then NPA for agricultural loans is different. There it is when the installment or the interest has not been paid for two crop seasons, for paddy, jowar, bajra, and for long duration crops, the time duration is taken as one crop season. So the movement of the NPA, non-performing asset, from a special mention account to a loss asset, if a borrower has not paid the loan or the interest or the principal for a period more than 90 days, then the NPA is classified as special mention account. Post that, if the situation remains the same for 12 months, it becomes a substandard asset. It's basically the accounting treatment which is reflected in the books of the bank. Post that, another 12 months, doubtful asset, and after that, it is then classified as a loss asset by the auditors of the company. After this, there's an example which is explaining this classification of the NPA under different categories. So, starting from the special mention account, when the amount becomes overdue. So, here you have the case of a loan which was disbursed on January 1, 2010. So, till and the party does not make a payment now till June 1, 2010. Now, this loan was for 6 months. Till that point of time, it is reflected as a standard asset in the books of accounts. Now, the loan becomes due, the interest payment plus the principal payment, they become due on 2nd June. Okay, now from 2nd June to 29th August, 90 days, if the loan amount remains overdue, then for this duration, so 1st June was the last date, so 2nd June onwards, it is classified as a special mention account, and it remains there for 90 days. Post that, 1 year, 12 months, it becomes a substandard asset. Then again, 12 months are given. If again there's no payment, the default continues, it becomes a doubtful asset. And if it remains a doubtful asset for 3 years, then it is classified as a loss asset. And then post review or review of the account and seeing whether there is any possibility of recovery of the loan or not, it is then written off from the books of accounts of the bank. Now coming to the reasons for rise in NPAs, there are certain external factors and some internal factors. Under external factors, ineffective recovery, willful defaults by the customers who have taken loans, then there are natural calamities, and a pandemic like corona would be another reason for rise in NPAs in the Indian banking sector. Industrial sickness. So, over the years, we are not seeing much positive growth in the industrial production index. That would again be a reason for rising NPAs. Lack of demand. I think we can relate to these reasons more in the current times. Then, coming to the internal factors with the banking system, there have been cases when the lending process has been defective, like we saw the case of Yes Bank, or for that sake, we can say PNB, SBI. Many a times they have not evaluated the credit history of the customer to whom they are giving the loan properly, and there, when you're giving handing out a loan to a person who has a high credit risk, then it will obviously lead to higher NPAs for the bank. Then inappropriate technology, proper technology, MIS and financial accounting system softwares have not been introduced. The SWOT analysis done by the bank about the credit worthiness of the borrower has been improper, inefficient. Proper credit appraisal system is not in place. No regular visit to the industry where you have handed out a major percentage of the loans given. Now, keeping in view the rising NPAs over the years, the RBI has taken steps to improvise the situation, to rectify the situation. Under that, special debt recovery tribunals were incorporated so that they could take up these cases of NPAs uh, in a short period of time. These cases could be settled. Then a very important development was the introduction of the Securitization Act in the year 2002, where more power, more authority was given to the banks to take over the assets which have been offered as collateral for the loan, which has ultimately turned out to be a non performing asset for the bank. Which means when borrowers they take loans, they offer collateral to seize up the collateral post the failure of the customer to pay back to the bank. That par was handed out over to the bank because it was a very lengthy process prior to that, that the official receiver would then attach the assets and then later on they would be auctioned, and the entire process would take up a lot of time before the rightful possession of the asset could be passed on to the bank. But with the Securitization Act, things have speeded up, and now the banks have more power. They can issue notices to defaulter. If you see the second point here, who have to pay the debt within 60 days. With 60-day time frame, they are issuing the first warning to the borrower, to the customer, and once the notice is issued, the borrower cannot sell or dispose their assets without the consent of bank. So the first power is exercised by the bank at this point of time, that This is the first warning to the borrower that now you cannot sell the collateral without the permission of the bank. If the default continues, then later on the bank can take the possession of the asset of the collateral, sell it off, and try to recover as much amount as possible. This we'll be doing in detail in the coming up slides also. Then Lok Adalats again. Lok Adalats were formed to speeden up the process of the cases related to settlement of the cases related to NPS. Then also arbitration was promoted, and compromise settlement scheme was launched by RBI so that the cases of willful default and frauds, apart from the cases of willful defaults and frauds where there was genuine possibility of the settlement outside the court, then compromise settlement could be done. And the credit appraisal system, the review system for the customers and for the corporates basically has been revised over time, and the credit history check has been improvised in the banking system, and also for individuals the CIBIL score has been introduced. The government launched Mission Indradhanush for improvising the quality of assets of the bank, and to curb the menace, the problem of NPS, insolvency and bankruptcy code were also introduced. So there were a number of reforms, legal reforms also made to check and address the problem of rising NPS, and banks have been motivated to expand and diversify their customer base. Okay, so not restrict yourself to industrial loans, you can focus more on housing loans or consumer loans, where the default rate is much lower than the industrial loans which are given. Okay, so then one of the policies measure taken by government has been mentioned in this point, which was Project Sashakt, where asset reconstruction companies, if you would have heard in the current budget also, asset reconstruction companies are being floated to address the problem of NPS. So here asset management company was formed. So this and alternative investment funds were formed by the government, they were promoted by the government. So asset reconstruction company under the Securitization Act, how does it work, how is the strategy implemented, that I'll take up in the class tomorrow. Okay, so then we'll stop here. It's already time, almost time